That don't know who I am, I'm the ULI jury co-chair, and I've always also been tasked to kind of lead the effort on this deeper dive into the award nominees, or finalists, I should say. So first, I'd like to thank our sponsors, which you see there on your screen. And obviously, we couldn't do these programs if we didn't have those folks. So now I'm going to play a video about placemaking that is a couple years old, but I think it explains the program very well.
Placemaking is the intersection of building and engineering, plus commerce, plus creativity. It's the moment when those things come together.
There's lots of different kinds of placemakings, but the fundamental part of it is it's a place where people want to be. It attracts people. It creates spontaneity. It creates magic.
Other than physical attributes, things that make a space great have to do with the culture and passion that's coming out of that space.
We had very humble beginnings. We started out in the post office building over on the north side, and the visionary leaders at the time really had a long-term vision of transforming that part of the north side. So when we think about placemaking, and we talked a lot about the bricks and mortar buildings, it's not so much that, it's what's happening inside that place. So we've been able to build the largest cultural campus for children and families in the United States, and it's what happens every day in those places. It's the transformations that are happening in our make shop. It's the art that's created in our studios. It's the ideas that we're testing out in tech labs. Those are all of the things that we're very excited about, and one of the things that our executive director, Jane Warner, often says is you can't fail a museum. So we're really excited to be part of that journey with children and their families, and we can't wait to see what happens next.
The Miller Street Apartments project came about 4 years ago when we really seen an opportunity and a need for more affordable housing. We found the site in the Hill District, and we worked with a church community to have some liens forgiven, and then had to submit the project to PHFA, the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency, to compete for tax credits, where we competed against developers across the entire state of Pennsylvania. By the grace of God, we were one of the ones selected. I really felt like this was an opportunity to really bring a higher standard to affordable housing. It's an investment in the future. If we're not investing in affordable housing, then eventually these neighborhoods, the low-income folks won't be able to live there, so they won't be connected to opportunity, and that really has a generational impact and generational effect.
Placemaking is all about imagining a space from the user's point of view and creating a space where employees want to come and work, shoppers want to come and shop, and families want to come and live. And we all want to return to.
Assemble was started in 2011, and this idea started off as a Google document. And it's a startup nonprofit where we do things for big kids like us and little people who are under 18, and it's all about building confidence through making, uniting artists, makers, technologists, and learners to come create, connect, transform, and learn together. We bring in folks from universities and other organizations and place them in a very everyday space, a storefront. So on the kids' way home from school, they can come and meet a scientist, they can meet engineers, and also see how they might be through an engineer as well.
It's not only important, it's essential. Cities are succeeding today because talented people want to live in those cities.
Participating in ULI placemaking, you get to see how different developers, different investors, different placemakers create new spaces that the communities can participate in and be a part of and use for many, many decades.
Well, the history of Shiloh Street in the Mount Washington area dates back to the late 1800s when the Monongahela Incline was first built in 1870. That's when Shiloh Street boomed and the commercial district evolved just beyond there. However, in the mid-century of around the 1950s, there was a plan to revitalize Grandview Avenue, and high-rise residential buildings and radio towers cut the business district off from Grandview Avenue. So the Mount Washington Community Development Corporation for decades now have been trying to reestablish that link between the biggest tourist attraction in Pittsburgh, First Day attraction, where we see over 1 million visitors a year, into the heart of the district, into Shiloh Street. I think what makes a place great is diversity. In order to have an exciting business district, I think there needs to be a diversity of business types and people that make up those businesses, so that when people are coming to that business district as a destination, there's something there for everybody.
For cities to be successful, I think their leadership, whether it's public or private leadership, needs to have three characteristics. They need to be nimble, they need to be curious, and they need to have an appetite for risk. So they're small little places, they're whole neighborhoods, but it's about creating vitality in a place where people want to be. And you see that's what's making cities successful today. And you see a lot of that happening in Pittsburgh.
Developing places is incremental. It is one thing to have this vision and want it all tomorrow, but it takes time. And it's taken us decades to get where we are and to see the success we are right now.
Developing a place has to do with consistency, trust building, and just being present and part of a neighborhood.
Special places make the city of Pittsburgh exciting. It creates a special place for whatever reasons for people. It could be a place of contemplation, it could be a place of joy, it could be lots of different emotions, but it touches people.
Placemaking is essential to creating healthy communities.
Placemaking is essential to transformative thinking.
Special places make the city of Pittsburgh a great place to be.
It changes people and engages people in the city.
Okay, so as you can see, that was a good overview of everything. And we're here to kind of highlight Community Place with this program. And, the formal definition, I think all of you can read, so I'm not going to read it. But the whole idea behind Community Place is this: assemble, unite, and celebrate. And the two projects that are the finalists in this category, I think in similar and diverse ways represent this whole idea. So the first project that we're going to be talking about is the Homewood Community Engagement Center, Phase 1 and 2, University of Pittsburgh. And joining us after I show a few pictures and a video will be Lena from the University of Pittsburgh, Sean and Monica from Strata, and the contractor was Waller Corporation. So this CEC, or Community Engagement Center, is really there to design to create an impact for the community and the neighborhood, building alliances and working in a collaborative way with individuals and organizations. This adaptive reuse project transformed a vacant grocery store, and some of the components are a science lab, a computer lab, seminar room, classroom, gallery work, artist work, and a conference room. The development and design of the center was led by Strata, and through their engagement with Pitt and the community, we all kind of see the result of really realizing an ambitious vision for the building. Because of its success, there was a addition done and to increase the programming and services. The goal being substantial systematic impact affecting social, economic, and civic capacity within the neighborhood. And as you can see through some of the visuals here, it's taking a building and with adaptive reuse and multi-purpose things. So we also have a video about the CECs, and let's see if I can get it to play here. Yeah.
If a community is to benefit from a university, and if a university is to benefit from the community, we better have a place where we can work together. Our mission, after all, as a university is to make the world better, a better place through knowledge and learning.
The word community means to be in union with. The creation of the Community Engagement Centers is all about the University of Pittsburgh being in union with our neighbors and being able to do teaching, research, and service in a way that it produces a win-win for both the university and the community.
The University of Pittsburgh's Community Engagement Centers carry out our place-based community engagement commitments. What they offer is a physical home for the faculty, staff, and students who want to get deeply involved in the community. They house our staff who develop partnerships between members of the community and members of the university. And they're also vibrant, welcoming facilities that host all manner of community-serving events and programs and initiatives.
The CECs are very different than other community organizations in Homewood because we don't duplicate or replicate what's already here. There are a lot of pillar community organizations that have been doing excellent work for decades, and we desire to work with them and alongside of them to fulfill their missions. So pretty much the university is a stronger place because we're able to leverage our resources in the form of our faculty, staff, and students to work alongside asset-rich, community-based organizations to help fulfill their missions. And that's where the real power and might of having a center in the community really shines.
It's important to have a physical building so there is a literal front door in the community, that there's somewhere where residents, parents, grandparents, community members, stakeholders can find us. They can hold the University of Pittsburgh accountable to what we say we're going to do. I think the vision for the CEC would also be that all the work that is done is a win-win. We want to be very intentional about fostering collaborations that aren't just generated from the university side, that we want to get to a space where the community has a say-so in how we operate and what we do and how we actually are positioned within the neighborhood.
For the last 18 years, we have been here trying to empower families and youth, and so Pitt has come on as a wonderful valued partner in this endeavor. Our local leaders and residents are the heartbeat of what we do, of taking care of our children, our seniors, and families at large, and creating a safe and productive space. It's just been a wonderful collaborative and a partnership with Pitt University.
I think that in essence, when we think about equity and social justice and civic engagement, that we're creating a whole generation of change agents that will graduate from the University of Pittsburgh and go out into the world and always feel a connection to community. And that's the type of education that will stay for you for a lifetime.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing now, and we'll open the discussion. So for our discussion today, we have Lena Distillo, I believe it is. I might have mispronounced that, and I apologize. With a name like Zoflik, I get mispronounced all the time. Sean Beasley and Monica Gibson. So if you three would be so kind and unmute, so that we can have a conversation. And the first point we'd like to kind of discuss, because each of you had a role to play in this project. And So we'd like to know kind of what your highlight of getting this project completed is.
I think I'll go ahead and chime in first. Thanks, Robin, for having us. It's really exciting to be here with our partners from Strata. I can't say enough wonderful things about the process that they led, really to have a community-centered space. And I appreciated that it's the nod to placemaking that really foregrounds this space. For me, one of the highlights of this process is it's an anecdote that I want to share with you. Very early in this planning process, we held a town hall meeting. We invited residents, community leaders, faith leaders, elected officials to come and talk with us about what the university intended and what were our hopes and how would it be that we would work with neighborhood partners, with community members to really make this an energized, active space. And there were some skeptics, there were some concerned individuals in the audience who really couldn't quite figure out why an institution would do an investment like this. Just for the sake of collaboration. And I have to tell you, that all comes from the idea of divestment in place, right? When we've walked away from communities, when we've not invested in the way that is with community, but instead sort of develops on top of, it can really enable this sort of grand skepticism. Well, fast forward to the grand opening of the Community Engagement Center, and don't you know, that gentleman that was most concerned, most verbal, right there in the thick of things, really appreciative of the work that we were doing. And part of that came from the design of this space, as transparent as it is, both in terms of the facility, but also in the process, and the ways in which community accesses that space just as frequently as university stakeholders. So that's really, for me, the highlight.
Great. So Sean, you want to go next?
Sure, yeah. And thanks for having us as well. This was really an exciting project for us. Placemaking is core to our values. And, imagining the Community Engagement Center with the university for the first one, I think was a unique opportunity for us. And, we really enjoyed the process and it was a great client to work with. For me, by far, the most important thing was the adaptive reuse of the buildings. We looked at a lot of buildings within Homewood and really identified how this was really in the center of the community. The community has a lot of vacant parcels, and being able to reuse both of these buildings, I think was really important, right? On Homewood, which is was traditionally the main street of the neighborhood, and so our ability to bring that back and the building when we got it was had lived many lives. It had chain link over the front facades, and the back wall was falling down. And there was water in the basement, and there were walls that were a lot of people would have walked away from. And so I think it was really important to the university to bring this back, and to not to have a new shiny out parcel building, but really to something that fit into the street face of what has traditionally been, kind of a multi-story storefront mixed-use community through Homewood. And so bringing that back was really important to us. And I think we were really successful in creating a front door so that Pitt could really engage with the community.
Great. So I think the second question's kind of been answered to a certain part, but Sean, maybe you could tell us kind of what one of the aspects of the adaptive reuse that was a challenge that you overcame and made it a success.
The falling down building was probably our biggest challenge. It had been vacant for a couple of decades, and the roof was failing, and there was not a facade to speak of. They had infilled it a couple of times, and in particular in phase 2 of the project, which got a little glimpse of on those images you showed. We had a basement space that had beams that were under 7 feet tall. And I remember walking in with one of the people from Pitt Facilities who said, "There's no way possible we're ever going to put a space in here And I think we were very successful in getting our childcare spaces, as well as the psychology department, and very usable space down in through the connection of a very large light well that we cut into the middle of the floor plate, so that we could get light down there and off of the street face. And I don't know, if Monique, if you had anything else you wanted to add to that.
Yeah, definitely that that building was challenging, at least to say, but I agree that was definitely the success story, to provide, the usable space with daylighting. We used skylights. We really fought for those skylights because we knew from day one that will make a difference and will impact the space. So yeah, that's the very successful story. And also we focused from the beginning on providing flexibility for the space. We knew that the program will be really diverse, anywhere from computer training classes to cooking demonstration to movie nights, dance classes. So that diversity, I think, shows really well in the floor plate, and the connection to the street, right? We really intentionally placed smaller office spaces and private rooms to the back of the building, and the more public spaces kind of open to the street with large storefronts, because we really wanted to, create that energy up front to showcase what's happening in the center and to bring the community back inside.
Great. And Lena, so can you give us an example of some of the successes and engagement with the center by the community?
Sure. Well, I want to call out two. The first is really the origin story. So the facility, the property itself is owned by the Bible Center Church, which is a Homewood church. It's been in the neighborhood for a very, very long time. They had done a tremendous job, given the resources that they had, to acquire that property, weather secure that property. And they did so really to avoid either speculative development or misuse of property. And it, as Sean had mentioned, had lived many lives, not all of them really great in a community setting. And so the church was very activated around really catalyzing development up and down that commercial avenue in Homewood. And they have a number of other properties as well. Well, I heard in the video at the start of our session today, placemaking, it means that you take a risk. And I've often had people talk to me about how the university took a risk at, revitalizing this facility in Homewood. And actually, I'd say Bible Center Church took a risk on Pitt, right? They took a risk that we were going to show up and do the right thing and work in the community in the ways that we needed to. And I am really grateful to that church and to the leadership of the church and the ways in which they've really galvanized this great linkage through placemaking for the university. So that's one thing that I wanted to raise up as a success. The other is more integral to the architectural plan of the facility, and certainly one that I think kind of really lends itself to the program. And, we've got a little background noise going on. There's somebody joining by phone that we might need to thanks.
Yeah.
So the bottom level of the facility of phase one is so tremendously well laid out to facilitate really cutting edge experiences for young people. We operate at the university a summer program called Camp BioE. It's a bioengineering camp, and it teaches the basics of bioengineering in very accessible ways to young people. And so through Strata's work, we were able to lay out a series and sequence of spaces that worked in conjunction with each other: a computer lab, a science lab, and basically an open seminar room with an electrostatic floor that we utilize for robotics. And together, these spaces have such incredible flow, and they provide this really amazing environment to have bioengineering exposures and engagements in the heart of Homewood. We're able to welcome young people through that space. We've had parents and grandparents and teachers walking through that space while camp goes on. Everybody's amazed. I'm amazed at what people learn there. And that's a huge success for us that's enabled by the physical facility in partnership with the programming that's going on.
Great. Those are great comments. So I know you have a 4:00 stop. So would you like to make some final comments about placemaking and and the Homewood Community Engagement Center?
Surely. I think placemaking is always about partnership, right? I understood that sometimes we think about sort of the energy of physical location, innovative design, those coming together and what they produce, but it's actually about the dynamism of partnership. And from my perspective, the University of Pittsburgh partnering with the expertise and the intention of Strata is really what made this real. I can't imagine having worked with any other firm on this. I just feel like the process and the touch that Strata brought to this particular design was unique. They really understood what it was that we were trying to achieve. And through that, we had a wonderfully iterative process that enabled us to just move this facility in ways that I think it did not look like this on day one. In our minds, this is not what the CEC looked like. And I think through Strata and through our community partners, it really has become a real civic hive. It's a place that people want to be. People were pained when we had to shut the doors during the first stay-at-home order phase of the pandemic. And we've been open for a lot longer since then. But it's a place that people want to be, and it's a place that I want to be. And so I hope you all, if you're local, will come and join us and spend some time there because it's truly transformative.
Yeah, I'll just
go ahead, say, Sean, jump on in.
I swear Lena is not on our payroll, but we loved having her a client, and we're just thankful to be included. It's a great project, and it's one we believe in wholeheartedly. So great to see it recognized. And thank you.
All right, Monica, would you like to say anything else?
Yeah. Thank you again, Lena. It was really a pleasure to work with this whole team. It was an amazing experience for me. And, the placemaking is, for me, it's definitely about people. And this was an amazing opportunity to create this place of gathering. So thank you.
Great. Well, I think, this discussion really honed in on the whole idea of the Community Award and placemaking, and I think it's a very successful project. So at this point, we'll move on to the next project, and that's the Ohringer. So I'm going to share my screen again. There we go. Okay, so sorry for that technical glitch, but now we're going to be discussing the Ohringer, which is a tremendous project, and we're fortunate to have Greg Kander, who's the developer, Jeff Campbell from Rothschild Doing Co. Collaborative, I believe Lisa Kelly from FMB's on the phone, and we have the contractor for this project was Soda Construction. So again, we're going to do a couple of slides of pictures, show a video, and then we'll get into the discussion. So you could advance the slide. So one of the things I want to mention, the photo credits are with Mastery Photography, but I thought from the website that is for this project was really a kind of a cool opening in my mind. Resilient Heart of Braddock and reemerging as an arts incubator and arts housing. And this is really a game changer and should be celebrated. And that's one of the reasons the jury thought it was a good finalist for the Community Award. So next slide, please. And here's collages and pictures, the roof, and obviously that's probably the kickoff meeting there, and some collaborative and community space. So next slide. And here's some more pictures of the artists at work performing. There's a gallery there, and then one of my favorites is being up on a roof, and so this is a good picture of a beautiful night in Pittsburgh with the Ohringer sign shining brightly. So I think we're ready for the video on the next one. Now that we've danced our way into this next finalist. So originally the iconic building was home to the Ohringer furniture, and that was from 1941 to 1964. And it was part of the thriving Braddock Business District. The adaptive reuse is a key part in the revitalization of the community, creating a place for professional artists to live, work, and exchange. It's 45,000+ square feet. And as you saw in the video and some of the pictures, contains housing, a gallery space, areas for gardening, picnics, lounging, and a rooftop patio, engaging the community in a positive and productive way. The developer, Greg Kander, has accomplished a space that not only promotes networking and business development, but moving new entrepreneurial business into Braddock. So we welcome the Ohringer team, and we'll start with Greg, and kind of what's the highlight of the project for you, Greg, besides getting married?
And I have to let other people speak, but that's the person I'm marrying is really the reason why this project happened. I'm actually in an interracial relationship, and it was seeing the world through her eyes that made me want to come into Braddock and make a change. But first off, let me just thank you for having us, for bringing us to the finals, for your kind words. I think there are no losers here. That other project, Homewood, just seems fantastic. I want to invite them to come to Braddock too. Just fantastic stuff that's going on. And thank you for recognizing these type of projects. This project for me, the highlight is really it exceeded every single expectation and exceeded our vision. The real purpose was to come in and do things differently, to come into a community that used to be 20,000 and is now at 2,000, and not to come in and gentrify it, to come in and make sure every step we did was with the community's participation, was with their consent, was with, if we're going to do things that are going to grow the community, that they're going to be the first people who get the jobs and participate in it. The other thing is making sure we had diverse artists in there, not just diverse in the type of art they did, but I've said over and over again, if this building was 95% Black, I failed, 95% white, I failed. Getting a really good mix of people and reflective of the community is what we were looking for. And even saying white and Black is too much in a bubble. There's Latinos and Mexican that it just expands as you keep going and as I continue to learn. Through both my relationship and through these artists. So then, the design, these guys killed it. I mean, the building it's giving people living in affordable housing to feel like they're living in Park Avenue in New York City. I mean, it's an opportunity to just meet each other and work with each other, be in a place that they're just so proud of and glad to be there. And it's exciting. So I have a lot to share, but I also want to let other people speak.
Okay.
Jeff, talk.
Jeff, would you like to go next?
Sure. So I'm a principal here with Rothschild Dino, and I do also want to acknowledge, thank you for recognizing the project, because it has been really a valiant effort on everybody's part, especially Greg's, who is relentless in the pursuit of the vision out here. And it's really nice to kind of see that outside recognition. So thank you. For me, there were a lot of highlights. It was a really fascinating and fun process. But there was a moment I had in particular where, I moved here to Pittsburgh 17 years ago and always had this attachment to Braddock. For those of you that know Braddock Avenue is really the heart of it. It just runs through the community, and there's been a lot of investment on both ends of it, and it's something where, with the steel mill, there's always been energy, and then there's a lot of investment in the plaza, but there's always been this hole in the middle that, was really the heart and the center of it. And at the center of this, the tallest building in Braddock, actually besides the steel mill, is the Ohringer building. So you have this 8-story carcass right in the center of the community, and I can't imagine what it would be like to have grown up in Braddock and walk by this building that had died for so long, and right in the center of everything. And so when the marquee sign went up, it was really a symbol. Everybody had always said we wanted to make this project a beacon, both figuratively, but literally there was a beacon in the middle there that just connected everything. And I still remember coming out on a Friday morning, the sun was shining from behind and it glowed, and it just brought life back to the center here. So I really appreciated that.
Great. So I think Lisa's on the phone. Any comments, Lisa? Okay. Hearing none, I will move on. But
Hello.
Oh, here we go. Go ahead.
Hi. I'm sorry that I couldn't participate in the Zoom call. I just had a call in from my phone, but I do appreciate too that you mentioned the sign, and I want to suggest that everybody check out the Ohringer website, and there's some videos there, kind of a revitalization of the sign, along with the one you just saw with the revitalization of the building. And I think they were done by Greg's son, and they're really excellent and really inspirational to see, again, that transformation and bringing the community to life. So that I just want to mention that, and just we were, I'm glad that it's being recognized here with this, in this award category, and was really happy to be a part of the project. So check out those videos, check out the website. It's really great. The artists actually right now are doing a Christmas event. They can sell their wares at the first in the retail space on the first floor, and it's really just amazing addition to the community, and really revitalization is the perfect word. So that's all I got. Great. So commenting on, obviously this is a project that'll is a key factor in the revitalization of Braddock, and you've got the artists there and the market, as Lisa mentioned. Can you comment on any specific examples of success, and also how you've seen the community strengthen as a result of the project? Greg, you want to start?
Yeah, you just tossed me a softball, so that's great. And I've given so many tours, and it's even captured national interest on how to go into a community and do things right. But it's what I've seen around. In the tours, I give the example of if you break a storefront window and you don't fix it, the next one's going to be broken. The next one's going to be broken. But if you do what we did and they point to the sign, what happens is then 3 doors down, Shayna opens up a hair salon. The building to our left went under agreement, and they're doing a little coffee shop in there. The project that's giving me the most pride right now, we had a minority contractor for our drywall and locks, and he bought the building behind us and is doing a trade school for the community. So we're going to take kids from the community to come in and get high-paying union jobs right from his trade school. And it wouldn't have happened. Each one of these would not have happened without this project. And so it's really what gives me the most pride is really the legacy that comes out of it. And we're working on a skate park further behind, and that's going to be something great for the community. And it really takes a village, and it takes each one of these going on. But the other things that are really collaborative with the community, and it sounds like you love rooftop decks too. I mean, that was key to me on this project. But we've had these meet your neighbors events where, sometimes we would have Braddock Council in the library, or then we'd have the businesses, or then we'd have just the people in the community to really meet the artists, because until you have the face-to-face, and everybody wants to be up on the rooftop and grilling up there, and now we always use and support the local restaurants. I mean, 6 years ago, we didn't have any. We now have 4 restaurants in the community. So it's those type of things and those collaborations. We recently, the artists just did, we have 3 photographers in the building that did free family, Christmas portraits, bring your family in. It's sold out in a moment. They have open mic night in the gallery space, each month. So it's really something that is going to continue to grow. We have artists that are volunteering at the local free store and Hollanders, which helps, women-owned businesses in the community. Just even planting 37 new people to live and breathe in this community and ride a bike and be there, make a presence, leads to other things. So we have seen it firsthand, and it's happening, and it's happening actually quicker than I thought. And I'm working on 2 more projects, bringing Braddock Arts and Media. We're looking to bring Pearl Arts, dance studio out there to work collaboratively. There's a library renovation going on, Andrew Carnegie's first library, which this building is phenomenal. And they have a theater that rivals the Benedum and the Byam. And we'll have Pearl Arts working right with them and doing performances. The best is yet to come, but just thankful we did it and took that first step. And Jeff, you want to share?
Go ahead, Jeff.
For me, it was, I think there's been a lot of, there was a moment where we agreed that we could do housing. We finally, everybody understood that we could get the project to work, and it changed to be housing for artists. And I think that was something that should really be celebrated. We shifted the design where instead of having these massive glass block windows that sometimes can be very challenging, they really became an asset for every unit. So every unit has this great indirect light, which is just perfect for artists. The idea that we have 37 interior designers coming in who can create their own space, and so we're really creating a space that's interesting, but also serves as a backdrop. That was great. The roof deck that was mentioned, we converted the whole basement to make that a gallery, or not a gallery, but a space that people could create in. There were some music rooms in there as well for different types of artists. But then probably the biggest one was the retail space on the ground floor. When we started the project, this was meant to be a retail that we would give out to somebody. And at one point, Greg just said, let's just give it to the community, give it to the building itself and call it a gallery. And that just was a huge decision in the project, and just has met so much success because, as Lisa mentioned, you can go down there now and get some holiday presents for anyone who's missed the FedEx deadline. And it's really, they've taken over that space, and it's really allowed them to come together. We do a lot of multifamily, and there are residents in the building, but this really is a community. And there is, I've thought about unsubscribing to the social media because it's just there's so much energy around it, and it really, the Ohringer is really the community that's in it, not just the building.
All right. Well, we have a few minutes left, so Greg, any final thoughts about that and the placemaking? Obviously, it is a placemaking place. So, any additional comments?
Sorry about that. Yeah, artists themselves, are transformative, and just putting them in a place like this. And the fact, I just thank them so much, because this wasn't easy to come out to a place that doesn't have the convenience stores, the Giant Eagle down the street, the gas station. They're pioneers too, and coming out there, and they all knew the mission. They all knew what this was about. This was about engaging a community, about making a change, about leaving your own legacy. And I can't thank them enough for taking that risk, taking that step forward. And I think we're going to have very little turnover. People love the building, take great pride in the building. And I do want to just give a bigger shout out to Jeff Campbell and Rothschild Doyne. I would have screwed up this building. I would have had rectangle boxes for units. And they came through with this double loaded corridor where every unit is different on the floor, 5 different units per floor. And people can't decide which one's the best. I mean, they're really just long, lean with great windows. You're either going to celebrate the sunrise and garden on that side, or you're going to celebrate the sunset on the other side. You got that great corner glass where they can light up at night. It's really special. And as I said, it exceeded my expectations. And I think, you surround yourself with great people and they make you look good. So I want to thank people like Jeff for making me look good.
Great. Jeff?
I should just end there, but I think, you don't do a building like this with this size without a great contractor as well. And it is worth mentioning, Soda Construction was there from the beginning. and really was a collaborative, a collaborative group that really, we went through everything together and very open and transparent, everything, trying to make all these decisions. And, we were everybody connected to the mission of this from the beginning. And I think it really was a great success. If you haven't, I would recommend, there's an article in Pittsburgh Magazine that was just published. As an architect, you always open it and first thing you do is look for your firm name, and it wasn't in there at all. And the reason is because it's not about the building. It's about all these great stories and all these, as Greg had mentioned, people that thought they'd never come back to Braddock again, but were drawn to it. Things like that. So that's worth a read. Make sure that jury's aware of that. So.
Great. Well, truly appreciate your comments. I'm going to share my screen again. Or Lisa, would you like to make a final comment?
No, I did want, just want to mention too that the project was awarded, has been awarded and recognized by several different organizations, including Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency and obviously for, several awards for architecture. So, that too really makes it a special project. But that's it.
Great.
Thank you, guys.
So we really appreciate everyone's participation today. Just to wrap up, I'm going to make some personal comments because the thing that I love about these programs and really Pittsburgh itself is the passionate people behind creating change and realizing vision. And both of these projects really represent this collaborative approach, overcoming obstacles and making things happen. And it's really going to make Pittsburgh better. ULI is a great organization that brings together different aspects of land use and projects, and we have the legal community, we have architecture, we have professional services, contractors, and everything else. And really having these conversations and making the appropriate changes is where we need to go. And we're, it's a great city and we can be a lot better. So we are going to have 3 more of these. The next one is on January 19th, and that'll be taking a deep dive into the Healthy Place Award Finalists. And then, of course, the placemaking event, which if the slide would advance, is on May 12th. And if, we haven't, last time we had this was at the Omni William Penn, and we celebrated all the projects, and it was a great event. And we are this year celebrating the Highline and McKnight Realty. So the event will be at the Highline, and we're really looking forward to it, and that's May 12th. So once again, I'd like to thank the sponsors for making this happen. And if Lisa's still on the phone as the council chair, maybe she can make some final comments as we say goodbye.
Oh, you did a great job, Robin. Thank you. I did just want to thank everybody for participating today. I look forward to see you in May. And of course, we couldn't make this happen without our sponsors, and we like to thank them, our annual sponsors and event sponsors. So thanks, everybody. Have a great day.